Federal government agencies beset by serious and persistent threats from inside and outside their digital networks now have a new defense available to them. This asset cloaking cybersecurity technology, developed by Unisys for the government and described as encrypted software-defined microsegmentation, has now received approval from the U.S. National Security Agency's Commercial Solutions for Classified program, permitting federal agencies and select countries to acquire it to protect their most sensitive systems and information. Former U.S. Army cyber warfare officer and Unisys product evangelist Jack Coons explains Unisys Stealth next on this NITAAC Solution Showcase. Engaging our industry stakeholders to inform the U.S. federal government on today's most innovative IT solutions. NITAAC proudly presents Solution Showcase. Well, welcome again to another edition of the NITAAC Outreach webcast, our Solution Showcase here at the Applied Innovation Laboratory of Unisys in Reston, Virginia. We're here with our special guests, Jack Coons, the cybersecurity evangelist with Unisys, and Joe Carini of Computer Marketing Associates, the prime contractor on the NITAAC CIO-CS contract. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thanks, Todd. Thank you, Todd.
Let's start about talking a little about the environment that we're all in today, particularly industry and the federal government, in terms of the exposure and risks presented by cyber attacks worldwide. Seems you can't get away from this topic. Tell me about what we're looking at, Jack. What's the environment today?
So, you know, Todd, you brought up the word exposure, right? And I think that's the key word, right? So what's different today than what was different yesterday when I first started in this field is exposure, right? Everything we do today touches the internet in some form or fashion, right? With the proliferation of IP version 4 transitioning to IP version 6, mobile devices, the Internet of Things, the Internet of Everything, right? Really what's happening is everything now has a IP address. And that is a surface area that is becoming quickly unmanageable, right? And so the conversation really becomes one of how do you safely secure the things that you own and you need to in order to keep your business up and running, ensure that resiliency, right? And how do you do it quickly, right? And that's the key here, right? That exposure, you're not going to change it. In fact, you're going to start exposing more and more as time goes by, right? So really, how do you shorten the time, the flash to bang, to ensure that you're safe, you're secure, and you're continuing your business operations in a seamless manner that's transparent to your users?
We're here talking about a solution from Unisys called Stealth in the cybersecurity space. What was compelling about that as you looked at the opportunity?
Yeah, so again, you know, we talk, industry has no shortage of best of breed, best athlete solutions, right? You can point to anybody. It seems everybody wants to be in this space, working in this space, right? But what the industry really lacks is a holistic way that brings a lot of the things that you really need to do to frustrate. Again, remember what I'm saying here. Not to prevent the breach, not to prevent the intrusion, but to mitigate the threat, reduce the threat, much like the human body does with a common cold. We don't cure colds, we don't stop colds. What we do is we continue to do what we have to do and mitigate the threat of the cold, right? And so that same analogy holds in this space, right? So stealth is a way to do that, right? Stealth brings to bear things like advanced encryption, which, by the way, the only certified for use in national security systems microsegmentation solution, right? The only one that's out there. So that means it's passed those rigorous standards in order to do that. Things like microsegmentation, things like software-defined networking. And if you Google any one of those terms in and of themselves, you will find that Gartner, Forrester, and all of the major leading research institutions have all pointed to the fact that in today's threat landscape, that is the way to posture for the future, right? So when I looked at Stealth, I was like, you know what? Stealth brings all this to bear in one nice toolbox. And toolbox is a good analogy because Stealth doesn't just do one thing. It's malleable and configurable to the user, right? Bringing to bear the benefits that come with software-defined networking, advanced encryption, microsegmentation, and some things like cloaking that absolutely nobody else even has. So when you're talking about ransomware threats and denial of service attacks, if you can cloak your network, right? You're denying phase one of the cyber kill chain. You're denying the very thing that basically held the world hostage just a short time ago, these ransomware attacks and things, right? That's a very powerful conversation to have. That attracted me to Stealth, which by extension attracted me to Unisys.
When you talk about cybersecurity, it's a time-sensitive game. Procurement is an important piece of that roadmap. Joe Carini of Computer Marketing Associates. You have been a contractor on the CIO-CS contract. You were Contractor of the Year. Can you help our audience understand how these kinds of solutions can be made available and procured quickly in today's environment that makes that such an important piece of the puzzle?
Todd, thank you very much for inviting me and being with Jack and listening to his story. I think there are so many important parts of companies like us, on the technology side in trying to solve the government problems. At the end of the day, the federal government has to have a way to acquire the technology and the solutions. And heretofore, for many years back, it's probably been one of the biggest problems. The acquisition cycles were very, very long. In many cases, took years and years to buy the technology. Government cannot wait that kind of time to solve these pressing problems. So one of the key ingredients to our success, and hopefully our success with Unisys, and being a partner with them and taking their solutions to the market, is the rapidity and the fast way where the government can buy their technology and their solutions. And one of the key drivers and one of the key contractual vehicles is your NIH CIO-CS contract. It provides any government agency, any user, the ability to use that contract to do a rapid acquisition that meets all federal acquisition and competitive requirements. And it can be used to buy not only the technology, but the services that support it, and for a multi-year period. It is very flexible, and it allows the government at the end of the day to do acquisitions in weeks or months as opposed to years.
So critical for in the cybersecurity
right,
space where these things are needed and needed quickly.
Well, Joe brings up a great point. When Vault 7 dropped, a week later, industry was looking around, DoD, federal governments were looking around for a solution. The acquisition cycle is not pacing with the adversary, right? So that agility is what Joe brings to bear. That's powerful. Gentlemen,
we'll have to leave it there. Thank you for joining us for this conversation on cybersecurity and the Stealth product, now available on the NITAAC CIO-CS catalog. We appreciate your contributions, appreciate your innovation as well. For all of us associated with the NITAAC Outreach webcast and this Solution Showcase, we'll see you next time. Thank you for joining us.